Welcome to a weekend in Paris, France. I took the Eurostar over by myself as my friend was working there all week, so I thought it was an excuse to go to Paris for the weekend. Met my friend, stayed in our hotel for that night, and then headed into Paris city centre in the morning to check into our hotel for the weekend. In the Latin Quarter, we were staying at Hotel Saint-Pierre, which was a very small hotel but had an amazing view. For breakfast, we headed to the very famous Café de Flore. I don't know if you can tell from all of the branded things on the table. Every inch of cutlery and cups, the foam, everything was branded. We ordered the smoked salmon and scrambled eggs, which we didn't expect to be presented like this, and definitely wasn't very Instagram friendly, but it was tasty, and this is the perfect place to sit and people watch, sitting outside the cafe. And then for the next while, we just wandered around the city until our friend finished work. We headed to see the Eiffel Tower, of course, and took a lot of photos. It was quite busy as the Rugby World Cup was going on at the same time while we were here. So we headed across the water to the Seine and sat and just took in the Eiffel Tower from a quieter vantage point. We headed across town to the Louvre Museum. Both of us had been here before and seen the Mona Lisa, so we didn't pay to go in, but it wasn't as busy as I'd seen it before. And then we headed for dinner once our friend finished work to Paul d'Or, this very rustic French restaurant. We had some salmon to start and then some beef bourguignon for a main, and Devin had lovely fresh fish. But this was a really rustic French restaurant, very, very busy, very popular with French people, would definitely recommend. The next morning I headed out by myself. Them two wanted to lie in, so I wanted to go and explore the city and go book shopping. This is the elevator. Obviously only fits around 1 to 2 people. It is tiny, but very quaint, very French, with this sliding doors and gate, which I loved. One thing I noticed about Paris the last time I was here and this time is it's very quiet. Even though it is a Saturday morning, the streets are so empty. Even at 10 a.m, nothing seems to be happening. My first stop was Shakespeare and Company, one of my favorite bookstores in the whole world. It is usually so packed full of people, but it was such a nice time to come. It was very quiet when it first opened, and then this was the queue after I came outside. As you can see, very packed, so get here early if you want to get in and beat the crowds. I did buy a book, Big Girl by Mecca Jamila Sullivan. They do stamp your book as well, so it's always worth buying a book here. Next door they have their own cafe, so I came here for a little coffee to go. Very cute cafe to sit and work if you are in the area as well. And I came for a walk along the Seine. It was very miserable and cloudy, but made for a very nice walk, and to kind of picture, could I live here? Could I move here? Or could I even come for a solo weekend by myself? I love Paris, and Paris feels like a very solo traveler friendly city. I strolled around the city with my coffee to go and walked the little streets, the very quaint streets, stumbled upon a market. There's some chicken being roasted in a rotisserie, and went on a hunt for some more bookstores. Most of the bookstores were selling French books, as you can imagine. There weren't many in English, especially in these second-hand stores, but I love anywhere you find a romance section, you will always find the 50 Shades of Grey book and the After fan fiction from One Direction. And then I stumbled upon this little quaint bookstore which was packed to the brim full of books, and it had that old fusty smell of old books as well that I love. But a really, really cool bookstore to come and check out if you are in Paris. And then I met back up with Lizzie and Devin and headed for some food for lunch. And Devin wanted snails. He had never had snails before. I tried snails and frogs the last time I was in Paris in my old vlog, which I'll link here. But yeah, I've never seen anyone shot snail juice before, but Devin seemed like he was into it. And this risotto was probably one of the best risottos I've had in my life. We all said this food was insane, and I would definitely come back here if I was ever to be in Paris again. And then we spent the next number of hours just wandering the city and wandering the sights of Paris. After seeing the Champs-Élysées, we came up to Montmartre, took the metro here, and I've been here before as well, so this is nothing new, but it's a really, really nice place to come and see if you are in Paris. There's a lot of boutique shops up here, restaurants, bars, and of course the famous Sacré-Cœur. It had started to rain when we got here, so we did go inside and had a look. It is a beautiful church to come and see, plus it has incredible views of the city outside. We headed back into the city centre, met back up with Devin, and then had dinner at this French restaurant. We were in the basement and we were sat in a shared table with two young American girls, which made for really good company and a very funny evening. But again, another rustic French restaurant called Robert et Louise, and I would definitely recommend. So good. And since it was a Saturday night, we had to have some drinks, so we came to this bar that was on the top floor of a restaurant. It seemed to kind of speakeasy vibe, very, very cool, and yeah, I would definitely recommend. Really good drinks and music. Then our final morning, we headed for breakfast, we had some brunch and just people watch. I could sit here and people watch all day, especially French people with their style and the different kind of characters you'll see, but such a good place to people watch. And then we actually headed on a free walking tour of the Latin Quarter, which was led by this lovely French student. It's a very cool way to spend the morning, especially since it was free, but we did tip at the end to be shown around all the different sites and history of the Latin Quarter by a French person. It was very, very cool, and I would definitely recommend. I'll add the link in the description if you wanted to book, but a really cool way to see a part of the French city. And just before we had to catch our trains and flights, we stumbled upon this band playing some music and people were dancing in the street. It was just a very good atmosphere for a Sunday afternoon. What else would you want to be doing? And I was heading back to London on the train by myself, so grabbed some dinner beforehand and then got the train. So thank you very much for watching. Subscribe if you are new, and if you have any questions, do leave them in the comments box and I will get back to you.